Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of I'm Here, the interview. Today we have the pleasure to interview one of the most versatile hairdressers in the United States, Mr. Michael Porcinelli. Who's Michael Porcinelli?
I am a Davines international artist, proud to be. Been a hairdresser for approximately about 35 years, and I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, proud to be a Canadian, now living in Los Angeles.
Michael, in your biography we can see that you describe yourself as a self-taught. Can you elaborate on that, and do you think this way is flexible for everyone?
You know, being self-taught to me really is about being able to absorb what's happening around you, really paying attention to the greats. They have definitely molded my way of thinking and have, been able to train my eye in a way where I see things maybe in a little differently than, let's say, a lot of people. But being influenced by all these people, I was able to kind of look inward and sort of work on my strengths and my weaknesses to kind of, really help me creatively and instinctively to become the hairdresser that I've become today. Is it for everyone? Probably not. But at the same time, as artists, we have to be able to process things and make it our own, no matter what. So I'm a big advocate for individuality. I'm a big advocate for self-expression. And I think that that's an integral part of being a hairdresser, or an artist in general.
Obtain knowledge and an unfamiliar environment. Can you define this approach?
Well, Eddie, we are in an unfamiliar environment, and technology is around us. It's part of our everyday life now. It is a little uncomfortable, especially, coming from a different generation, but we have to adapt. We have to adapt, and we have to adapt quickly. Thank God I've been able to do that. I surround myself with a lot of young people who are very, very technologically sort of inclined. So, but having said that, technology can definitely work to our benefit as artists because I call it being plugged into the matrix. And what I mean by that is we have to be very, very aware of what's happening, in every aspect of the word, current events, fashion, science, any type of technology that keeps us abreast of what's happening. And I think that can be a huge catalyst for creating, So yeah, I think that it is an unfamiliar time right now, but I think that we can use that to our benefit and create something positive out of it.
Michael, could you tell us a bit about your training method?
Well, that's a good question, Eddie. My training methods are basically they're based around my education system. And my education system is called fusion methodology, and really what it's about in a nutshell, very quickly, is if you think about the word fusion, it's an integration. It's a blending of many different things, and for us, our education is really about the blending of technique, the blending of tools. And also ideas, so that's really, really important. So we're really about empowering the individual. We're not about, mass production. To me, a hairdresser is an artist, and our job as an education system and as mentors is to really give hairdressers the tools that they can take back and they can make it their own. We're not about creating robots. We're about empowering the individual, like I said. So that to us is very, very important. So, my technique of training is of that sort of mindset. And obviously, the more you train, the harder you work, the more you're going to get out of it, and the more successful you're going to be. So that is really something that myself and my team, we really believe in that. So that's basically how we do it right now.
Who was or were Michael Porcinelli mentor early in his career?
I would have to say that my sort of my first inspiration or my first mentors in my career would have to be my mother and my father. They're the ones that gave me the possibility to do what I'm doing today. I'm so, you know, as I get older, you know, you kind of look back and you say, you know what, man, I'm so much like my parents, you know, you can't escape that. And I'm just very lucky that my mom and dad were both very, very skilled hairdressers. I also, you know, I have to say my brother Anthony, him and I, we started together, and he's an amazing artist, he's an amazing hairdresser, and he goes quietly, you know, behind me. But I gotta say, he belongs in the front just as much as I do, because he inspires me. And even still to this day, we work together side by side with the team, and he's my, you know, he's my sounding board, as well as, you know, my other two teammates, Crystal and Bryn. But yeah, he was, you know, my family was my first sort of mentors that made me see things the way I see them today.
Roberto Lobeta, what does this name mean to you?
Well, that's a big name. That's you know, one of the pioneers and the icons of our industry. And if any of you out there haven't heard of that name, Robert Lobeta, you need to look him up. Check him out on Instagram. Just Google him. The guy's a genius. I was very, very lucky, you know, earlier on in my career that he stumbled across me. He saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and he gave me an opportunity to become the artist that I am today. He gave me a chance to fulfill some big shoes. And, you know, I can say what he did for me was he took me from seeing things like this to seeing things like this. I mean, when you work with a master like him, you can only learn and you can only grow, but he really did teach me to believe in myself, to dream big, and he taught me so many things, especially besides, you know, photo shoots. I mean, the list goes on, how to go on stage, all these things. He gave me that opportunity, but the most important thing he did for me was he trained me. He trained my eye.
Michael, do you see an increase of creativity during this time that we are all facing today?
You know, I do see an increase in creativity. You know, especially right now with COVID, and a lot of us have had to, you know, stay home and not be able to, you know, interact. I think that every time that there's some kind of cataclysmic thing, you know, some of the most beautiful things have been invented in times of need, in times of stress, in times of fear and uncertainty. So yes, you know, like just, you know, being on social media and just watching all the amazing things that have been displayed on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. I think that we've had a little bit more time to ourselves to be able to express ourselves, you know, especially being caged up at home. So what a great way to kind of release in these times of, like I said, these times of uncertainty. So I think there has been an explosion of creativity, especially with hair, especially in our industry.
Michael, for several years you were global co-artistic director for an important brand. Why the change?
Yeah, I was, Eddie. I was the global art director for Sebastian for about 20 years. But like everything in life, everything has its journey and everything must come to an end. And it was a good time. It was a time for a change in my life. A lot of things were happening, some not so good, and some, you know, some great things. But the change was perfect. And I was very blessed to be given another opportunity to work for a brand called Davines, which was the perfect fit for me at the perfect time in my life and in my career. It couldn't have been better timing for me.
Michael, what inspirational advice would you like to give to those watching this interview?
Well, I mean, advice is it's so subjective, I guess. But if I had to give any advice to especially the youth coming up today, or any hairdresser for that matter that's looking for something different. The biggest thing when I'm mentoring, I always say, you know, first of all, it's got to start with you. You've got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you. So you've got to be involved with something far greater than yourself, because that's when you learn. And you know, always work with people that are better than you. I look for that all the time. You know, my team. You know, and I think that when you put yourself in that kind of environment, in that kind of situation, there's nothing else you can do except for grow. You know, if that's where you want to be and that's where you're passionate about it, that's where you will grow. So, you know, surround yourself with great people that will be constructive and fair, and treat you with respect. And like I said, you know, that's the kind of environment that I put myself in. I was very, very fortunate to you know, to have that kind of chance. But yes, so those three things are really, really important.
Michael, thank you so much for your time, brother. This is all for today, everyone. See you next time.